Well, hello, I'm Dr. Chris Lemmon, and still got a little bit of a sore throat. My wife and I were on a little business errand in New Mexico, and I had picked up like a strep throat or something. So just recuperating. That was I don't know, about 5th, 6th of July. So it's been a little recuperating process. Um, this is my introduction. I've been doing a little short 10, 15-minute talks, or at least I try to keep it to that, for the blogs that I write. you know, in today's world, it seems to be that people like to listen to someone talk and look at someone's face rather than be able to read content. It's tough for me as a book reader and never owning a TV in my life, that to be able to have value in this exchange rather than read a book is an oddity for me, but I'm willing to change, I think, to some relative degree. So the August blog, August is my birthday month. And so what I decided to do, since I've got a whole different genre of people now that are communicating to me and back and forth. And so the fact that I taught and knew people for 18, 20 years is not all that relevant. So what I did, in August, I just made a little bit of like a snapshot view of Chris and whatever, right? A lot of people would come to me and ask, and professionals too, why do I have a different view? And I think I started out in a platform of a different view. I don't know if it was rebellious. My family was wonderful. My grandmother, my father died when I was 2. My grandmother was a sweetheart. She wasn't all that healthy, and she was I wouldn't classify her as religious. To me, religious is someone who's always quoting from the Bible and blah, 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 traditional piece. She just had a rule, no smoking in her house. So I guess in a world then, when you walked into a restaurant or a coffee shop or anything, there was a coffee cup and an ashtray in front of you. That was the rule, right? That was standard. And I know the first thing that I did when I sat at a table was I moved the ashtray to the center of the table to get the smoke away from me when I was 4 or 5 years old. The first thing that happened when a waitress came over, she took my coffee cup because, you don't give coffee to kids. Although unbeknown to anybody, I was lactate intolerant. So my mother felt guilty about, she's a sweet lady, and she felt guilty about not providing milk. So she would make coffee with milk in it, about 50-50, and heat it up. And then eventually she would put, I think it was White Horse whiskey in it. Whatever, it was her way of getting me to be able to consume some milk and yet have enough alternative in mixed with the milk so that it wouldn't upset my stomach from the lactate condition. So, be that as it may, whatever, it was kind of, it allowed me to see a world with some disparity in it. It's like, this is not going to work, but whatever, people put a lot of energy. You guys, probably me too, you guys put a lot of energy into making things work in a world that's changing very quickly, especially with the background changes. We're going to be short of water here pretty soon. Water conditions are whatever they are. Financial conditions in the world are very interesting besides weather. So, for a few years we could complain about climate change, but now, another way, what do we do? What do we complain about? Another civil war on the planet, another dispute, financial situations, and everything going broke. It's interesting. I'm not trying to harp on any of that. It's just a state of change. It's like, that's what it is. It's always been a state of change. Any time, pick up any book in history, 1852, 1779, any time period, and take a look at it there. They're in a state of change. It always occurs. Sometimes there's a bigger package in the background than other times, but this dynamic changes. If you look in the mirror, you get an idea that it changes. Okay. So September is just, August is just a little bit about me, right? I just chatted out a story about me to kind of break up. Yes, the theme is range. And so I guess to some degree, I was trying to say, people say to me, why is your range different? And I'm trying to give you a little background story. I'm not special. It's just like, or genius or anything, nothing like that. It's just that that was an offer that was on the table and I partook of it. My relatives, other family members, didn't really have very much interest in it. And, I don't know where they're at. Every now and then a family member sends me an email and says, oh, remember me when you were 7 or 8 years old and we used to play together? And yeah, right. Sure. Yeah, I remember. So then I tell them, here's my blog site. You want to find out what I've been up to, look at my blog site. I never hear from them again. So therefore, to some people, what I have to say is probably extremely offensive. And other people find it interesting. And wherever you're sitting, bless you, have fun with it. It's an experience called life. And we're all in this game and we're all just going to die. It ends. So, obviously the only thing you can do is squeeze what you can out of it, have some fun with it, stay out of trouble and find something that's of importance to you, something that's of value to you, and play with it and continue to play with it. And then, so my wife might say I'm a little obsessive about things because I get into something and I dig into it and I do research on it and I dig up all the background. I have lots of stories because of that. But, that's just my preference. When somebody says something, I don't take it ever as a fact. I take it as an invitation to do more work, to dig into it, to search out more, to become more knowledge-based. Because I think if you're in the game, you should know more about the game. You should know what's going on. Right? The people that lose all games very quickly are people that don't have any idea what's going on. And then their story is, oh, well, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know how to play. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. Well, know something, learn something. Gosh, build that diversity of range up, experience something, have some fun with this, jump into it, see where it goes. It's always interesting, I think. And, so far on the 3/4 of a century, I've been floating around here. I haven't really backtracked, gone back to saying, oh, I should have stayed with this, or I should have done this, or I should have joined that church, or I should have been a Buddhist, or I should have whatever. I don't know. Did I go to Buddhist retreats? Yes. Did I go to a lot of different churches? Yes. When my kids were little, I took them to a different church every week because, those were the church days. And so they were growing up and we never were affiliated with anything, but we went to a lot of different stuff and some really crazy stuff and some chanting places and all kinds of fun stuff, and I don't know. It's like lots of range and diversity. So that's still my story. It'll be my story for this year. So I'm sitting here working on September blog and so August is available. And so have fun with that. And if you have any questions, go ahead and email your questions to Chris, that's CHRISS, at wizardscatch.com, WIZARDSCACHE.com. I'd be glad to answer your questions. If your questions have some range to them, I may just go ahead and add up another blog with answers so that it's available for a bigger audience. Of course, won't name you, but I most certainly will try to impart as much information as I can. I think that's really important to be more informed as we move forward. There has always been a tendency to rely on what's called the background. It's some of Heidegger's term, right, that I borrowed. But a farmer relies on the weather. You rely on the conditions. You rely on things. That's what I'm saying. So when I say secure into something, I mean rely on it. Making a lot of assumptions is going to be the same. And when it starts to change, then you lose that and you move into a time that's ambiguous and very uncertain. And so in September, we'll start to take a look at how people deal with uncertainty traditionally. We have record keeping, so we can actually go back and take a look at how it goes on. so that now during a time of uncertainty, you don't follow to the edge of the cliff and march over. You make some decisions that are unique for you. All right. So have fun with the blog and have fun in the adventure of building range, and most certainly enjoy that. I did put out a workshop that's available if anybody wants it. Why? Let me know what's going on. I did put a price tag on it because I had to make all those talks and videos, but money's a problem. Communicate, just communicate. We'll work something out. All right. So you got it. Thank you very much. And it was been a delight talking to you. Hardest part of these is always finding the off button. Gosh, thank you.